Hello and welcome to the Cioffi Brothers podcast. I'm Ken.
And I'm Alex.
And today we're going to be reviewing Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman is the story about an Amazon named Diana, played by Gal Gadot, living on an island with other Amazons in isolation from the world of man until one day a pilot, Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine, lands on their island and basically pushes Wonder Woman to join the fray of World War I in hopes of finding and destroying Ares. And I don't mean pushing in the sense that he pushed her to. I mean the circumstances kind of force her hand to take action.
She believes Ares is behind.
She believes Ares is behind World War I and that it's her job to go out and stop him because she thinks that the other Amazons are hesitant to go, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
So,
without giving any spoilers.
Try not to spoil it too terribly much.
So let's jump right into the
comics. Yeah, let's go right into it.
I mean, I've said it about every movie she's appeared in. Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman.
As Wonder Woman, yeah. She's just awesome.
She is Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
She's a great Wonder Woman.
She's got the heart. She portrays the optimism and the idealism. But she also has the strength and the no-nonsense attitude to not, back down to pretty much anybody.
Yeah, and we had said it before, because this leads into one of our pros, this version of Wonder Woman will go down as the definitive version. In my opinion, this is one of the definitive cinematic versions of Wonder Woman. Yeah,
and my equation to it is, if you look at Christopher Reeve, his version of Superman, and at the time, was really one of the quintessential versions, thank you, of Superman. I really feel like this version of Wonder Woman is that for, or is that this movie is that for Wonder Woman, and Gal Gadot is the Christopher Reeves of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, definitely. As much as we like Linda Carter.
Yeah, she has her own place in our hearts.
She just blows it away. Every time she's on screen, she's the reason you're going to see these movies.
Absolutely, and I think she's one of the stronger points of a lot of the other movies where she plays Wonder Woman, where maybe the movie was not as strong. If there's any ray of light within those movies, it's her.
It's her, definitely.
Yeah. So the next pro is coming back to Chris Pine as Steve Trevor. He had just the right amount of levity and humor, and also this could get down to the seriousness of the scene as well. He was a good supporting character.
Yes.
They could have done a lot of things with this character. I mean, obviously. Kind of talking about the elephant in the room, like the fact, this really should be one of our pros, this is, for lack of a better term, this is a real girl power movie. Yeah. And I mean that in the best sense of it. This is directed by a woman, it's about a strong female character, and she's not just she's a very strong character, a strong
she's
female
not
character.
Eye candy throughout
she's not,
the movie.
No, she's not.
Even though she's eye candy.
Needless to say, but my point is that with Steve Trevor, they could have gone down a path that would have made him an unlikable character, and what they did here is they made him a strong partner character to him, and made him a really strong supporting character.
Yeah, they definitely made him his own character, like he should be in the comics. Mm-hmm. And instead of, again, just eye candy for the.
Well, and I think my point is what they did justice for the Steve Trevor character is what, honestly, a lot of women don't get that justice in an equivalent movie with a male as the lead. Often they become the
Man of Steel, Lois Lane.
Well, no, but even that I don't think is necessarily a fair equivalency, because Lois Lane has always been such a strong a strong character, but oftentimes the woman in the movie becomes the damsel in distress.
Yeah.
And is basically just there as a MacGuffin for the male character. And they did not do that with Steve Trevor here, which is, I thought it was nice.
Yeah, definitely. This movie is included in the DC Cinematic Universe, but what's nice about it is it can stand on its own as being a standalone movie that would have, if they just dropped this movie, 10 years ago, it would have been great.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to, it just would have been a good movie. It's just a good
What I think
movie.
is nice is that in contrast to, say, Batman vs. Superman, this movie doesn't rely too heavily on the DC Cinematic Universe. There's some ties there, but it stands on its own. It is a good movie in its own right, and even without those pieces, it stands. It's a good movie.
Yep, definitely.
Lots of action and big action set pieces, and they're just done so well. They're you find yourself glued to the scene the entire time. The beach scene at the very beginning of the movie with all the Amazons and the
world. It's all.
Were they German? I forget if they were actually German or not. All the other soldiers. The No Man's Land sequence with Diana, where she finally stands up and walks through that was a powerful scene. Yeah, it was a really powerful scene. I mean, and I think you could, again, if you want to go back to the elephant room, could look at it as kind of a girl power thing. But even if you look at it separately from that, you have a character, regardless of gender, who's standing in this situation. Everyone's telling this person, this can't be done. This can't be done. And she says there's people on the other side of there that need help. Whether it can or can't be done, it has to be done. And again, kind of a very, a Superman-ish type of moment, and that's what it kind of, in my mind, kind of goes back to. But stands up and regardless of her own safety, stands up and starts fighting through the field and starts gaining ground in no man's land. And all of a sudden, all the guys are like, "Oh, fudge! She's doing this.
She's letting this happen.
We should probably help her." Yeah. And they do, and it was just, so that was an awesome one. And then obviously the final battle between, her and Ares, which, I mean, I don't think that's spoiling anything. The fact that she comes down to that final battle between her and him, it was just such a big set piece. And then there's the bit with Christopher Pine there, which was so, as Steve Trevor, which was kind of bittersweet as well. Just awesome action pieces.
It showed her strength, and that's her physical strength. Because to me, Wonder Woman's always been a very powerful character, going toe to toe with Superman.
Yep.
So to see her fight these different battles, it was just cool. You saw it; she was a superhero.
Yeah,
that's a superhero.
She had strength. She brought strength. Like she was the muscle. She brought the muscle to the situation.
Yeah, and that was great.
Yeah. Next pro, Alex, do you want to take this one?
There's some the additional memorable characters.
Yeah, they had quite a cast of characters.
Yeah,
put it that way.
Kind of a cool little Etta
Candy, who was ironically Steve Trevor's secretary, but the actress playing her and the way she was written definitely gave her a little bit more bite than that, and was also an additional strong character.
Samir,
Samir, the man, the would-be actor who, because of the time and the color of his skin, could not be an actor within the cinema, so he chose to be an actor in the field as a spy. Charlie, the sniper, who with a rough edge but a heart of gold. And the chief, who I think there's some hints that he was also some kind of a god as well within the DC Cinematic Universe, and had a connection. No.
Yeah, we're not quite sure. What if there was anything more, but
Yeah, it was kind of hinted at when they were talking around the fire. But anyway, very memorable characters, and really they make that second half of the movie they really work because they gives you people to root for. They're kind of like a bunch of underdogs. They give you people to root for. They give you people to connect with, and they give Diana people to connect with, and I think that's a big piece as well, because it shows she's connecting with man's world and the people within it as well.
Yep.
And seeing ultimately at the end, she has a discussion where she's talking about the good within man, and part of that comes from her interaction with Steve, but it also comes from her interaction with these other characters.
Yep. So on to our cons.
Yeah. Which ultimately not too many.
No, not that many, and sort of small things. Personally, I thought the movie was a little long, dragged out in some places where they could have trimmed it.
Tightened it up a little bit.
Yeah. Like I said, not a huge con when you're watching a good movie.
Yeah.
But still something where it's like, all right, let's
cut to the chase.
Let's speed this up a little bit.
Where is the chase, and how do I cut to it?
Exactly. Let's speed this up a little bit. We know what's going on. Let's get to the end point.
Yeah. So this next con was this movie is set up kind of in a framework. If you've seen Batman vs. Superman, the beginning and end parts take place right after that, and it involves Diana in the modern day conversing with Bruce, and essentially she's gotten her picture back, which is a plate, a plate photo that's taken at a point during the movie, and it essentially is very strongly connected to the DC Cinematic Universe. And my point really is that these pieces are unnecessary. You could have had this movie without those pieces, and it's kind of an unnecessary tie to just be like, see, it's this thing that's connected and everything. And that kind of goes back to our pro in the sense that, and I think that's why this movie works so strongly, is the fact that it's its own thing. They could have had some subtle nods to the DC Cinematic Universe that didn't have to be quite so bludgeoning in that sense. And the extra credit scenes is just I won't spoil it, but it's just really like, hey, Justice League is coming, bong bong, but not in kind of the subtle fun way that I think we've seen in other movie series. So
yeah, that's true. The villains were not that good, and it was almost hard to pinpoint who the actual villain was.
Yeah, because they had this kind of framework of somebody pulling the strings, they had these villains that you focus on throughout the entirety of the movie, who ultimately really aren't the big bad.
I think the problem I had with it is it pulled an Amazing Spider-Man 2 where they just kind of threw a bunch of people in there. And it kind
a little bit.
And
maybe not quite as bad, but
not as bad. But
not Green Goblin at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2 bad, but even though I do like that movie.
Yeah, well, me both, but that's different.
That's different movie for a different day.
They threw almost too many, and a lot of different things. Not spoiling it, but they threw a lot of different things in there that were kind of people that were kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, and
it didn't throw you off the track of who really was the bad. It more was like a distraction.
Yep.
Instead of it was a hindrance to the movie instead of something that could have
helping it build. So I'm not sure how to do this last con. If I want to do my description first and then talk about it, or if I want to talk about what the con is and then do my script description.
I would talk about the con.
Okay. So the problem that we had, and I had this concern even before going into the movie, and ultimately I did find that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it was still there a little bit, is that this movie echoes Captain America just a little bit, and it's more than just the war setting. The first Avenger movie. Captain America, the first Avenger. Yeah, and it's more than just the war setting, and it's more than it just being a period piece. It's a couple of things. So I put together this description of a movie, and I want you guys to tell me which movie it is, whether it's Captain America or whether it's Wonder Woman. ultra-idealistic superhero character finds themselves on the battlefield of a world war with an initially cautious ragtag group of soldiers. Superhero character wins them over with their abilities and idealism, and they all work together to find and bring down an evil mastermind who is manipulating the war for their own means.
I can't figure out which one.
I mean, and I'm keeping it really high level, and I think even you said, like, there could be a lot of, movies that would fit my kind of broad description, but I think there are enough similarities, especially within the idea of a ragtag group of soldiers, of them all kind of getting together. I mean, in Captain America, you had the Howling Commandos. In this movie, you had Steve Trevor's team, and they're all, in the midst of war. Now, ultimately, like I said, it really is much further from that comparison as I was originally concerned about. And certainly, if they had placed it in World War II, which I thought would have made more sense, but ultimately I'm glad they didn't, because I think that character has more roots within World War II than she does in World War I. I don't think she even existed during World War I.
I'm a little behind on my Wonder Woman history.
Yeah.
And they've done a lot of different things with the New 52 and Rebirth, and they've retconned a lot of different stuff. But
when the character was initially created, I don't think she was even around, in the real world time frame of World War II. But all of that being said, it ultimately, it works, and it's kind of a minor gripe. But I think there's enough of a similarity for it to be worth mentioning.
I do have one more con that I forgot to mention.
Going off the rails on me.
Going off the rails a little bit. So we like
Rogue.
We like Chris Pine as Steve Trevor.
Yep.
What stinks is that I wanted him to be Green Lantern. I was hoping, there was rumor he was going to be Hal Jordan, but
I had heard that rumor, and I kind of wanted that as well. I think that they wouldn't have done it because of his connection to the Star Trek franchise, and it probably would have been a little bit too similar, but it's because of his portrayal of Captain Kirk that makes me think that he would be a really good Hal Jordan.
And he looks the part.
He does. I would have been very happy to see him as Hal Jordan, in contrast with other actors in the past, who I was not happy to see play Hal Jordan. But
that's a story for another day. So let's get down to grades.
Yes, let's get down to grades. You want me to go first?
Go for it.
A-. Like, I mean, I don't even know how to even quantify it. It was a great movie. I would watch it again. We have watched it multiple times. I can't wait for another one, and I hope it's just as good. There's rumor that they're bringing Chris Pine back as Steve Trevor in some way, shape, or form, which would be interesting.
Without spoiling the movie.
It's a rumor. It's a rumor. It's a rumor.
Watch the movie and you'll see why that's a rumor. I agree.
Oh, about this movie. Oh.
Yeah. I agree. A-, great movie. The stuff we picked at was minor in comparison to a lot of the other movies that we've seen in the DCU. I just think this is just a great example of not only a great superhero movie, but a great woman power movie.
Yep.
Elephant in the room again.
Yep.
Directed by a woman.
Yeah.
That just turns into just a fantastic superhero movie.
Yeah.
And I've heard, my girlfriend, your wife, both of who have watched it, both loved it.
Yep.
Just coming from a non-superhero standpoint, it's accessible. It's accessible and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Very good movie.
So I think on that note, that's all we have for today.
Yeah.
Hit that like button, subscribe, share,
comment.
Do that, comment.
All the good stuff.
And we'll see you next time.
My name's Chewy, and I'm going to be reviewing dentist sticks with you today.
I like the flavor of the dentist stick.
It keeps your teeth clean, but you gotta wait for your master to get them for you, so that's kind of a con.
That is a con. That is a con.
But overall, I'd give dentist sticks an A.
How do they compare with the
With the busy bones,
busy bones?
honestly, the busy bones are a bit thicker, and they do keep you busy for a little bit longer, hence the name. But the dentist sticks, I think overall, are a more enjoyable treat. But that's just me.
That's just one dog's opinion.
That's going in